Good afternoon. I will be doing your resume review today. And there's a couple things I want to start out with just to make sure that you start with a really good foundation in creating a resume. One thing to keep in mind is that resumes go through applicant tracking systems, and this is an automated system of reading your resume. Because it's read by a computer, formatting is important and keeping a minimalized approach to your resume, which means keeping out charts and graphs and things like that that can be distracting for the system reading it and can miss information that's important for a potential employer to see and read. So we'll start today by looking at the resume that you sent, and I'll be giving you some pointers as to how to update your format and update the verbiage that you have in your resume so that you can be a great candidate for what the jobs you're applying for. So we'll start today by looking at your resume. I've gone through and created sort of a sample here today for our purposes, so you can take a look at it. To begin with, when you're talking about the format, you're going to want to keep it clean and minimalistic. You want it easy to read. You want the experience and skills that you have to sort of pop off the page. To do that, you'll want to keep your margins down to no less than 1/2 inch. I've actually put 1/2 inch margins on this. One of the reasons 1/2 inch margins are important is you want to keep your resume to one page if at all possible. I mean, obviously, if you have 20 years of experience, you may go on to 2, but you should be able to, at this point, based on the information that you sent, to keep your resume to one page. You'll have at the top your name and contact information for yourself. Again, make sure that this is typed in a format and a font that is easy to read. We recommend Arial, and I would keep it between 10-point and 12-point font. The summary section, which is a section that allows you to sort of highlight your skills for the specific job that you're applying for, is a section where you'll write 2 to 3 sentences that really bring out the skills that are important for that specific job. So you'll want to showcase your best talents as they relate to that. Your next section could either be the experience section or your education section. It kind of depends. If you've been out of school for more than 5 years, it would be your work experience section. Now, this can be professional experience. You could also title this something like relevant experience to the job that you're doing. When you get down to this section, it's going to be really important that you keep a couple ideas in mind as far as content. Obviously, the format for where you've worked, the position that you've held, and the date will stay consistent throughout your resume when you're talking about professional or other experience. The key ideas under it are bullet points that talk about what you did at that job. Now, it's important to keep in mind how you did it. So we use an acronym called WHO, W-H-O, so that you can kind of keep an idea of how to do these bullet points. So WHO, the W stands for what, the H stands for how, and the O is outcome. So you'll want to put what you did, how you did it, and the outcome of what you did. So when you've got things like setup bar, obtained cash bank, and stock service bar, that tells us what you did, but not necessarily how you did it and the outcome. Keep that in mind. The bullet point you have down here is the third one is a little bit better because it tells people kind of what you did and the outcome. So it says resolve challenging customer complaints to full satisfaction, promoting brand loyalty and maximizing repeat business. This is a good way of letting people know that you're definitely good with conflict management, which is a good thing in the position you're applying for, but it also shows that you promoted brand loyalty and you maximized repeat business. Another thing to keep in mind when you're doing these bullet points is also adding quantifiers, metrics, ways for people to measure how good you were at your job. So in this bullet point down here, develop new signature cocktail to support marketing brand and increase profits. If you can put how much those profits increased, that is really good. So that type of information is very helpful. As you continue down your resume, you can have sections like additional experience. And these may be jobs that don't necessarily apply to what you're doing, but may have transferable skills that do apply, such as collaboration, communication, meeting deadlines, things of that nature that would definitely be a benefit in the job, but may not necessarily hold the same title as the job you're applying for. Core competencies. These are skill sets that you're really good at. These can be soft skills and hard skills. Hard skills are more of those skills like that you do, like technical skills, whereas soft skills have to deal with communication and things like that that are important as well in the industry. Then you can put your education and certification as you continue down your resume. The important part in reviewing this resume and going forward is to making sure that the applicant understands that each section is important, but how they put the information down is just as important as well. Talking about tailoring, making sure that they do proofreading of the resume, making sure that there is no spelling errors, that they're grammatically correct, that the Verb tense is correct for current jobs versus previous jobs, and making sure that there's just not a lot of glaring errors, and making sure that they've also had a second set of eyes read it. Resume review is very important. It's generally the first indication or meeting a potential employer has of a potential candidate. So it's a way of a person branding themselves and showing what they bring to the table. So reviewing that resume as I go through it, I make sure that I hit the high points, talk about the things that should probably be reformatted or changed so they can be the best candidate that they can be.